To become the most powerful awakened individual, you soak in the fish tank every day, grill food on the gas stove, and even bury yourself in the dirt to sunbathe. Scrape bark from trees under their shade. You even eat dozens of pounds of raw iron at every meal. The iron blocks at home have been replaced again and again. All because you have transmigrated into a world of superpowers as someone with a useless talent. And you're just a low-level F-rank water element awakened individual, looked down upon by both students and teachers at school. Even your best friend suggests you become a firefighter, saying it would be a way to make good use of your potential. The teacher even recommends you take up a job as a sprinkler operator, with a salary of $800 and full benefits including insurance and pension. But little do they know, you have awakened the creation system of all things. By touching an object, you can unlock the corresponding attribute talent. Absorbing spiritual items of the corresponding attribute can further enhance your talent level. Since I have traveled to this world with a golden finger, I am determined to make you stand proudly in the world. At this moment, Yi Tian, who had just crossed over, was practicing the water sprinkling technique with a troubled expression. He could be seen sensing the water element energy within his body, then channeling it through his spiritual power, connecting with this water-based supernatural energy, to form the inscription for the water sprinkling technique. Drop by drop of water began to materialize, scattering within a 3-meter radius around him. A complete mess. The water sprinkling technique was only practiced to the beginner level. At this skill level, even the sanitation department probably wouldn't hire him. Yi Tian wore a troubled expression as he complained to himself. After that, he repeatedly cast the water sprinkling technique, hoping to improve it to the minor mastery stage. But after performing the water sprinkling technique just a dozen times, he felt the water-based energy within his body completely drained, and even his body became utterly exhausted. Left with no choice, he had to stop cultivating. Take a long soak in a hot bath. As time went by, lying in the bathtub, Yi Tian slowly drifted off to sleep. Suddenly, a voice echoed in his mind, water power increased by 1. Yi Tian thought he was imagining things. Right after that, a data panel appeared before his eyes. Host, Yi Tian. Level, Beginner Art Apprentice. Talent ability in water element, F level at 16%, artistic ability, F level. Basic mastery of water sprinkling technique. This is a cheat ability. Yi Tian's eyes widened in astonishment. His face immediately lit up with sheer joy. He then began to carefully examine this panel. Judging from the data, my innate water-based ability, although it is still far from reaching level 1, it is indeed making progress. Yet innate abilities are almost fixed for everyone. Unless it is an extremely rare natural treasure. Only then is there a slight chance of evolution. The level of one's innate ability. Could it be related to this special power of mine? Just as this thought occurred to me, another notification sound rang out. Water power increased by 1. At this moment, he noticed the water element F level had reached 17%. This indicates the water power he gained. His water-based abilities could be enhanced. And this power of water seemed to have been absorbed from the bathwater. This discovery made Yi Tian incredibly excited. Immediately, Yi Tian stayed soaking in the bathtub, until a wave of warmth surged through his entire body. In an instant, a blue light flashed from him. His water-based talent advanced to water element level 1, section 0. However, he soon noticed a problem. The water lizard could only reach level 1 before. Soaking any longer would make it much harder to absorb the power of water. He had soaked for almost an hour and a half. Only then did he barely manage to gain a trace of water power. This was a stark contrast to how things were at the beginning. It seems that the higher the innate ability level, the more challenging it becomes to draw water power from the water. Yi Tian sighed inwardly. Suddenly, an idea occurred to him. Since I can gain water power from the water, then is it possible for me to acquire fire power from fire? Just as Yi Tian had the thought in his mind, he immediately prepared to take action. He was seen heading straight to the kitchen. He turned on the flame of the gas stove. Then, he slowly moved his palm over the flame. When the fire began to scorch his palm, causing a sharp pain, just as he was about to take a break, a notification sound suddenly rang out. The power of fire increased by 1. Seeing this outcome, Yi was overwhelmed with excitement. Then he accessed the data panel. Host Yi level is that of a novice art apprentice. Innate ability, water element at level 1, 1%. Fire element not yet awakened, 1%, art level F. Basic mastery of the sprinkling technique. As long as 100 points of fire energy are gathered, the fire element innate ability can be awakened. So Yi repeatedly reached out to touch the flames. After several hours, a red glow began to emanate from Yi-Tian's entire body. At this moment, a surge of red power was gathering within his body. In an instant, Yi-Tian's entire body radiated a brilliant red glow. The power of fire elemental talent had awakened. He had been restless the whole night. The sky was starting to brighten. Yi-Tian took a short nap on the bed before getting up to head to school. As soon as he stepped into the classroom, he overheard some students discussing something. It was about how in half a month, there would be a senior high school league tournament at Yizhong. The event is being held at the F-13 Secret Realm, classified as a one-star location. Additionally, as per the rules set by the Art Association and the school, every student is required to participate. No withdrawals are allowed. The top 10 participants will receive generous rewards. Moreover, during the competition, any resources obtained in the secret realm will belong to the individual. After finishing his class, Yi-Tian arrived early at the big tree by the riverbank. After a whole night of contemplation, he decided to awaken all 5 elemental attributes first. Then he would figure out a way to enhance his innate abilities. Now, standing before the large tree, his goal was to awaken the wood-based innate ability. He placed both hands on the tree trunk and waited silently. Soon, a notification appeared in his mind stating that his wood energy had increased by 1. As expected, only a living tree could provide the absorption of wood energy. He had already tested this during class earlier in the day. But after touching his desk all day, there were no results. In the end, there was absolutely no change. Yi-Tian stood in front of the big tree for several hours. It wasn't until dusk. He finally awakened his wood-based innate ability. But he realized that the tree in front of him had withered. This was clearly the result of drawing too much wood energy, which ultimately led to this outcome. In the following days, he used the same method to awaken both his metal-based and earth-based abilities. He had also mastered the most basic spells among these abilities to prepare for the upcoming senior year league competition. At this moment, he was undoubtedly an awakened being with control over 5 different abilities. Without even realizing it, the league competition at First High School arrived quietly. Yi-Tian, with excitement written all over his face, pulled up the data panel. Host Yi-Tian, Realm, Intermediate Art Apprentice. Innate Abilities. Water Element Level 1 at 55%, Fire Element Level 1 at 1%, Wood Element Level 1 at 12%, Metal Element. Earth Level 1%, Earth Element Level 1%. Artistry F-Level Sprinkling Technique Proficiency. D-Level Water Shield Technique Beginner. D-Level Golden Needle Technique Proficiency. However, what delighted and satisfied Yi-Tian the most was his physical fitness, which had been transformed through the awakening of 5 elements, making his physique comparable to its peak as an apprentice in the arts. Immediately after, Yi-Tian and the other students of the water element class were led by their homeroom teacher, Mr. Li Xian, arrived at the entrance of the 13th Secret Realm. At this moment, other senior students from different classes of Donghai High School also started to arrive here one after another. Nearly 1,000 students gathered densely in this place. It could be considered a rare grand event for Donghai High School. As time went on, the entrance to the secret realm officially opened. Yi-Tian suddenly saw a white light before his eyes. Right after that, the scenery inside the secret realm unfolded before him. The spot where he stood was an open space. In front of the open space lay a dense forest. Rustle, rustle, rustle. One by one, students sprinted past him, then gradually dispersed in all directions. Afterward, Yi-Tian also settled on a direction, and quickly headed off on his own. This time, Yi-Tian entered the secret realm, primarily to search for metallic ores or spiritual trees, like flexible forest soil and other resources, quickly enhance their innate abilities. So he wasn't particularly interested in hunting ferocious beasts. However, things didn't go as planned. As he ventured deeper into the jungle, it wasn't long before he encountered his first ferocious beast. A blood-red wild wolf was charging toward him at high speed. When the wolf got within a 10-meter range of him, he immediately used his golden needle technique. A soft thud could be heard. The golden needle technique pierced right through the wolf's skull. Due to the force of inertia, the wolf slid forward for 4 or 5 meters, before collapsing heavily onto the ground. Since it was his first time hunting a fierce beast, Yi Tian was worried something might go wrong, so he clenched his fist tightly, and struck at the wolf's head lying on the ground. A cracking sound could be heard. As the skull shattered, blood covered the ground. Then the wristwatch lit up. It automatically recorded 2 points for him for hunting the beast. Just as Yi Tian was about to continue moving forward, a sudden rumble echoed. The sound of battle came from not far ahead. Yi Tian lowered his posture, and quietly moved towards the direction of the sound. It was the students from the gifted class. He followed the sound and looked in that direction. Yi Tian noticed a group of more than 10 students, engaged in attacking a giant serpent, and their ultimate goal was to seize the fruit from the tree behind the serpent. Judging by the scene, it seems they have been battling here for quite some time. Yet the serpent barely had any injuries on its body. Clearly, its defensive abilities are at least on par with ordinary beasts, which explains why even some beginner practitioners present. It was nearly impossible to break through his defenses. No wonder so many students from the genius class teamed up against him. Yet, they still couldn't break him after an extended assault. That day, I had no intention of getting involved. Instead, I chose to stand aside and quietly watch the show, hoping to play the role of the fisherman waiting for an opportunity. Just then, a water bullet spell shot out from a nearby forest, heading straight for the giant serpent, only to hear a loud boom echo through the air. A horrifying hole appeared on the serpent's body. Then its massive body collapsed to the ground. Blood spilled all over the ground. Yi Tian and the Genius Level Academy were momentarily stunned. The water bullet technique had actually killed the giant serpent instantly. At that moment, a beautiful woman slowly emerged from the forest. Her teal, shoulder-length hair swayed gently in the wind. Her icy demeanor paired with her black, form-fitting outfit made her appear exceptionally capable and sharp. It turned out to be the brilliant Lin Qingya. Lin Qingya possesses a B-level water affinity talent. Her cultivation has even reached the level of a supreme artisan. In this joint competition, her strength can be considered quite formidable. After Lin Qingya took down the giant serpent, she immediately turned her gaze toward the students, and then spoke. The Qiyang fruit on this Qiyang tree belongs to me. Do any of you have objections? Upon hearing these words, the group of people, his expression shifted suddenly. Though slightly irritated, he didn't dare to argue back. After that, they left in a hurry, their heads hung low. As for Lin Qingya, she plucked the dozen or so scarlet sun fruits from the tree, then quickly departed from the scene. After she had left, Yi Tian slowly emerged from the nearby bushes, and walked out into the open. Watching the direction Lin Qingya disappeared into, Yi Tian curled his lips in slight disdain. The Qiyang fruit is truly a valuable treasure. Not only can it enhance the cultivation of those with fire elemental talents, but it can also significantly refine physical strength and endurance. Even if it might not be useful, a single Qiyang fruit could still sell for 300,000. Although Yi Tian was tempted by the Qiyang fruit, he felt it wasn't worth fighting Lin Qingya over these fruits. He didn't think it was necessary to get into a conflict with Lin Qingya for them. Compared to the fruit, he cared more about this scarlet sun tree. Then Yi Tian extended both hands, slowly placing his palms against the trunk of the scarlet sun tree. Wood power increased by 1. Wood power increased by 1. Wood power increased by 1 again. So fast, in just over half an hour, his wood element talent rose to level D. However, judging by the vibrant life force of the alder tree, Yi Tian continued absorbing the power of wood, while finding a spot to sit down. Not until the alder tree had completely withered did Yi Tian slowly stand up. At this point, his wood-based talent had reached grade C. Afterward, he set off again, embarking on his journey to gather materials. And at this very moment, within a hidden valley in the secret realm, a golden-furred ape-like beast is being besieged by 7 skilled individuals. This is a Grade 1 bloodline beast known as the Golden Armored Ape. Its entire body is like reinforced steel. Ordinary methods struggle to breach its defense. However, the ones attacking it are 7 prodigies with remarkable talent. Each of them possesses a B-level innate ability, and they have mastered at least 1, or even 2 C-level skill techniques. All of them had reached the pinnacle of artistic mastery. Among them, Lin Qingya's figure was prominently present. With a resounding boom, 7 people launched an attack simultaneously, forcing the Vajra ape to retreat step by step. But its formidable physique combined with its extraordinary defense allowed it to withstand the assault head-on. From the sea-level artistic attacks of 7 ultimate masters. Meanwhile, the Vajra ape's counterattacks were equally powerful. Each casual strike from it was on par with a sea-level art attack. As time goes by, the injuries of the King Kong ape gradually worsened. Its strength was also steadily weakening. Just when they thought the King Kong ape was about to falter, from its body, a sudden surge of an incredibly terrifying power erupted. The golden ape's body radiated a dazzling golden aura. A brilliant golden glow emanated from its form. It then lunged forward with tremendous force, directly knocking Lin Qingya and the other 6 to the ground, leaving them injured and coughing up blood. Were sent flying in all directions. This is the innate skill of the Vajra ape, the Vajra strike. Right where Lin Qingya fell injured to the ground. When they thought serious trouble was on the way, the Vajra ape suddenly turned and fled without hesitation. It was only at this moment that they realized. The Vajra ape had forcibly used its innate skill, which caused a backlash from its bloodline. Now it has reached the end of its strength, and is severely wounded. Just as they got up to give chase, the shadow of the Vajra ape had already disappeared. They stomped their feet angrily in frustration. But soon after, they still followed the trail of blood. Meanwhile, Yi Tian, who had been searching for rare treasures for a long time, finally had his first breakthrough. In the bamboo forest not far away, there stood a bamboo tree glowing in a golden-purple hue. Its entire body emitted a faint golden-purple radiance. The bamboo has a diameter of less than 10 centimeters. It consists of more than a dozen bamboo nodes. This is a purple gold spirit bamboo. It possesses the ability to gather the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Moreover, he unexpectedly discovered, not far from the purple gold spirit bamboo, there is a spring emitting a green glow. Presumably, this spring is no ordinary one. What a delightful surprise. At this moment, his expression grew serious. This place, where spiritual energy gathers, must harbor a certain powerful beast. There is undoubtedly some kind of formidable creature residing here. Yet, not long after, his expression was filled with confusion once more. After observing for such a long time, he surprisingly hadn't discovered any sign of a beast. Thus, Yi Tian decided not to wait any longer. He swiftly cut down the purple gold spirit bamboo, and then approached the spring. He began absorbing the power of water. At that moment, his innate water element talent activated. Just as he reached the level of a prefecture-class warrior, a thunderous roar echoed from a short distance away, and a massive King Kong ape came into view, charging ferociously from afar. Its body marked with streaks of fresh blood, clearly showing signs of just finishing an intense battle. Yi Tian's expression shifted drastically, and as he was contemplating how to flee, the King Kong ape suddenly took the initiative to attack, despite being gravely wounded. However, upon seeing his spiritual bamboo being cut down, Lin Quan was caught in the midst of battle. Murderous intent immediately surfaced. The Vajra ape rapidly closed in on Yi Tian. 15 meters, 10 meters. With a swift wave of his hand, Yi Tian executed the Golden Needle technique. The Golden Needle technique at the minor mastery level was unleashed. A single golden needle shot out at an astonishing speed, aimed directly at the Vajra ape's eye. Yet the Vajra ape's reaction was equally swift. With eyes closed, the golden needle dissipated into the air after striking his eyelid. And in the next moment, the Vajra ape had already closed in, swinging a palm strike toward Yi Tian. The water shield technique formed a blue barrier of water, appearing around Yi Tian's body, but this water shield barely lasted a second, before being shattered by the Vajra ape's powerful slap. Immediately following that, Yi Tian channeled the weapon's energy onto the surface of his skin, boosting his defense. intending to withstand the strike from the Vajra ape head-on. A loud bang echoed through the air. Yi-Tian was instantly sent flying from the impact, crashing through numerous bamboo stalks in succession. Before barely coming to a halt, the 5 elemental powers on his skin were completely dispersed by the blow. Fortunately, his physical resilience far surpassed that of other artists at the same level. It only caused some internal energy to surge. Nothing serious happened. This indirectly confirmed Yi-Tian's suspicion. The golden ape had suffered severe internal injuries. Otherwise, that strike would have been enough to kill him multiple times over. As the golden ape prepared to attack again, Yi-Tian performed what seemed to be the most useless water splashing technique. With a loud splash, a burst of clear water poured over the golden ape's head. Under the impact of the flowing water, he instinctively shut his eyes. And just after the clear water passed, in the instant the Vajra ape opened its eyes, a beam of golden needles precisely struck those opened eyes. Immediately, the Vajra ape let out a painful scream. A large amount of blood poured out from its eyes. Following that, the Vajra ape became extremely violent, recklessly unleashing all kinds of techniques, attacking everything around it. The Vajra ape, having lost its vision, could no longer see anything, flailing wildly in the bamboo forest. Yet it never managed to land a strike on Yi-Tian. So Yi-Tian took advantage of this, and occasionally used the golden needle technique to target the ape's weak spots. After more than 10 minutes, the Vajra ape could no longer withstand the strain on its body, and slowly collapsed to the ground, while Yi-Tian received a reward of 500 pounds for slaying it. Just as Yi-Tian was cleaning up the corpse of the Vajra ape, and was about to leave, Lin Qingya and 6 others arrived at the scene. The Vajra ape was dead. When they reached the bamboo mountain, intending to search for the Vajra ape, they instead came across its lifeless body. Their faces instantly showed astonishment, especially when they realized that the one who killed the Vajra ape was merely an art apprentice. The astonishment on his face deepened noticeably. At that moment, a student dressed in a white tracksuit stepped forward from among the 7 people. With short black hair, thick eyebrows and triangular eyes, it was none other than Zhang Xiao from the genius class. He fixed a cold gaze on Yi-Tian. Then he spoke. "This King Kong ape was injured by us. And now you've taken advantage of it. Shouldn't we be given an explanation?" "What do you mean by taking advantage?" "Whoever kills the prey should own it." This was something announced by the school before entering the secret realm. "Do you have any objections?" Yi-Tian showed no hesitation at all. He looked at Zhang Xiao with a face full of disdain. Just as Zhang Xiao was staring at the purple gold bamboo in Yi-Tian's hand. Right when he was about to say something, Lin Qingya, standing nearby, calmly said, "Zhang Xiao, forget it, we're all classmates. There's no need to take it this far. Since this classmate was the one who killed the King Kong ape, then it's decided that it's him." Hearing Lin Qingya say this, the other 6 had nothing more to add. They left one after another. Unknowingly, several more days passed. Today marks the final day of the Senior Year League competition. Yi-Tian was carefully studying his data panel. Host Yi-Tian. Mid-level art apprentice. Water element talent, grade C, 1%. Fire element, grade E, 3%. Wood element, grade C, 12%. Metal element, grade D, 1%. Earth element, level 1, 3%. Art, grade F. Water sprinkling technique, small town. Level 1 water shield technique, small town. Level 1 golden needle technique, small town. After examining the data, Yi-Tian nodded in satisfaction. Regarding this trip to the secret realm, he was quite pleased with it. Right after, Yi-Tian dragged the corpse of the Vajra ape, and arrived at the gathering point near the exit. However, as soon as Yi-Tian stepped out of the secret realm, he caused an uproar. Seeing an art apprentice dragging out the body of a level 1 demon beast, everyone was utterly astonished, especially the students from the water element class, whose mouths hung open wide enough to fit a fist. They were fully aware of Yi-Tian's abilities, and his strength was something they knew thoroughly. How could a novice art apprentice, who only knows a basic water spraying spell, possibly kill a diamond ape? An apprentice in the art of magic, limited to a simple water spell, could never defeat a diamond ape. However, the chaotic scene because of the arrival of the school teacher, suddenly fell silent. Immediately after, the teacher began announcing the results of this senior year competition. First place, Lin Qingya. 682 points. Second place, Li Xiaohe. 628 points. Third place, Zhang Xiao. 577 points. Ranked Yi Tian in fourth place. 576 points followed closely. The teacher then began distributing rewards to the top 10 students. As the fourth place winner, Yi Tian received his award. His reward was a level C art skill, along with a cash prize of 200,000. Yi Tian pondered for a moment. Then he spoke to the teacher, saying, "I would like to choose the level C water-based skill, hydrotherapy." The homeroom teacher, standing nearby, overheard this. Kindly reminded him, "Yi Tian, hydrotherapy is a grade C art. It requires a grade C water-type talent to have any hope of mastering it." However, Yi Tian's response immediately not only shocked the teacher, but also made all the students present gaze at him with envy. "Teacher, I found a rare treasure in the secret realm. After consuming it, my water talent has already reached grade C." After the award ceremony concluded, Yi Tian returned home and began practicing the hydrotherapy technique. In the following period of time, Yi Tian frequently visited art shops and underground markets to purchase various necessary items. While using these items to practice his artistry and enhance his talents. Half a month later, Yi Tian opened the data panel. Host Yi Tian, Advanced Realm, Apprentice of Artistic Mastery. Innate abilities. Water element, sea level at 1%, fire element, sea level at 1%, wood element, sea level at 67%, metal element, sea level at 1%, earth element, sea level at 1%. Artistic skill, F level, sprinkler technique. Advanced E-level water shield technique, basic E-level golden needle technique. Advanced water therapy, beginner level. Wood vine technique, beginner level. Watching the rapidly increasing numbers, Yi Tian couldn't contain his excitement and smiled broadly. Yi Tian then opened the door to his house and headed to the water element class. The genius class of Yi Tian. He is now officially a student in the genius class. This marked the third day since his return from the secret realm. The school promptly placed him in this class. The water element genius class consists of 21 members in total. Among them, there are 7 artists and 13 peak-level apprentice artists. The others are all advanced art apprentices. Among them, the one with the strongest cultivation is Lin Qingya. And undoubtedly, the one with the weakest is Yi Tian. As soon as Yi Tian joined the class, he heard some news. It was about a senior art master from the cult of the evil god, who caused a significant commotion in Donghai City. Not only did he kill 3 art masters, but he also incited many people to join the cult of the evil god. Now the entire city is on a manhunt for him. Listening to the words of the other classmates, Yi Tian frowned slightly. The cult known as the Evil God Society was not unfamiliar to him. His previous self had died as a result of practicing a forbidden technique. And that forbidden technique was acquired from an outer disciple of the Evil God Society. The secret art was called the Heaven-Defying Technique. It could raise F-level potential to level 1. His previous self foolishly practiced it, which ultimately led to his death. While Yi Tian was still lost in his memories, Mr. Li Xian has arrived. And before the class began, the teacher solemnly announced something important. It was about a student from the ordinary fire element class, Li Yang. He was tempted by the evil god cult, and practiced the forbidden technique of the evil god cult, known as the Enlightenment Technique. Although it temporarily enhanced his comprehension abilities, allowing him to advance quickly from an intermediate art apprentice to a senior art apprentice, his innate talent, however, dropped to an F level. From now on, he would never be able to cultivate first-level fire-based arts again. And it was very likely that he would remain stuck at the level of an advanced arts apprentice for his entire life, forever unable to break through beyond the realm of an advanced apprentice in the arts. While the other students still showed expressions of regret, Yi Tian, on the other hand, displayed a look of surprise. And inside, he couldn't be more thrilled. He believed this enlightenment technique was tailor-made for him. Everyone else would dread the cost of consuming their innate potential. But he had no reason to fear it. it simply didn't pose any concern for him. Even if his talent drops from C level to F level, he can still rely on his golden finger to raise it back up. After settling on this idea, Yi Tian began planning to acquire the enlightenment technique. As soon as school ended, Yi Tian went home to change his outfit. He was seen wearing a black hat on his head, sporting a pair of black sunglasses, and covering his mouth with a mask. Dressed in very ordinary clothes, he stepped out. Then quietly, I arrived at Old Black's grocery store in the number 2 underground mall. As soon as I stepped inside, a middle-aged man with a sharp-featured face came up to greet me. After speaking with him for a few minutes, I explained the purpose of my visit, hoping to make a purchase here of the enlightenment technique from the cult of the evil god. It was for an elder in the family whose cultivation had reached a certain stage. Without external intervention, they might never break through in their lifetime. Hoping to take a gamble with the enlightenment technique, and as a shrewd merchant, the owner of the general store naturally noticed Yi Tian's urgency, and ruthlessly extorted him in the process, setting a steep price of 1 million. Realizing he'd been taken advantage of, Yi Tian felt a sharp pang of frustration. But thinking about finally obtaining the enlightenment technique, his mood gradually eased a bit. At this moment, Yi Tian was walking out of Old Black's general store holding the enlightenment technique, then hurriedly headed back home. But what he didn't realize was, in the nearby alley not far behind him, someone was quietly watching him. Under the faint glow of the streetlights, the person's features were faintly visible. It happened to be the past few days, the cult artist wanted by the authorities in Donghai City. He stared at Yi Tian disappearing around the corner of the street. And then a sinister smile appeared on his face, vanished into the narrow alley. Shortly afterward, Yi Tian soon returned home, and began practicing the enlightenment technique, sitting cross-legged in the training area with his eyes tightly shut. With a loud boom, behind Yi Tian, a shadowy image of a bizarre tree appeared. This was the precursor to mastering the enlightenment technique, and also the essence of the technique, drawing energy from innate supernatural abilities through eerie techniques, to nourish the soul, allowing comprehension to surge dramatically in a short time. At this moment, deep within Yi Tian's soul, it seemed as if a certain hunger had arisen, desperately craving to devour all the energy within the body. Let's start by absorbing the power of the earth-based innate ability. I haven't yet begun practicing sea-level earth-based arts. The potential of the earth-based innate ability diminishing won't affect my cultivation. As soon as Yi Tian finalized his decision, he began to absorb the essence of earth elemental talent. Streams of the earth elemental essence were drawn in and transformed by a mysterious technique, then turned into a unique form of energy, which was infused into his soul. In an instant, Yi Tian seemed to enter a profound and enigmatic state. The difficulties he couldn't grasp before suddenly became clear to him as if a veil had been lifted. Could this be what is known as a sudden enlightenment? Immediately after, Yi Tian began to practice various arts: water therapy art, wood vine art, golden needle art, and sword shadow art. He kept practicing until the essence of his earth attribute talent was on the verge of collapsing. Only then did Yi Tian slowly awaken from his cultivation. At that moment, he realized, aside from the sword shadow art, which had reached a minor achievement, all the other arts had been cultivated to a major achievement, and even to the level of perfection. Awakening suddenly, Yi Tian was utterly astonished. The speed of cultivation was truly astonishing. No wonder so many people had been captured by the cult of the evil god, to practice the art of misleading cultivation. However, he shifted his focus to examine his earth element aptitude, and discovered that his originally sea-level earth talent had not only dropped to F level, but was in the lowest 1% of F level. His talent was on the verge of collapsing. Gazing at his earth element aptitude that was about to collapse, Yi Tian thought to himself, luckily he awakened his golden finger ability. Otherwise, the price would have been far too high. In just one night, it completely turned a genius into a failure. After that, he took out a small amount of spiritual soil that he hadn't used up before. Martial power increased by 1. Earth power increased by 1. Earth power increased by 1 again. Yi Tian absorbed the power of wood as he continued, while pondering the cultivation of the enlightenment technique. This enlightenment technique truly feels like a divine skill tailored just for him. Once recovered, he would continue cultivating the enlightenment technique. Next time during cultivation, he should absorb the talent ability of the fire element. In the following days, Yi Tian practiced the enlightenment technique while making progress, and visited the underground mall at Area 2, to purchase various elemental materials. As time passed day by day, Yi Tian not only mastered various common arts of the martial system, he had cultivated to the point of achieving perfection in his practice. Moreover, his own cultivation had broken through its limitations, advancing into the realm of a beginner artist. In fact, his physical strength had also undergone a significant boost, reaching a level comparable to that of intermediate or even advanced artists. This was largely due to his dedication in practicing the enlightenment technique, combined with the discoveries made through his golden finger ability. By depleting his potential through the enlightenment technique, and then using the golden finger to enhance his talent and potential, it is possible to enhance one's physical fitness. After undergoing repeated cycles of intense refinement, Yi Tian's physical fitness has already surpassed others at the same level. However, he can no longer continue as he did before, to keep practicing the enlightenment technique, because his previous savings have been completely spent on purchasing materials for the 5 elements. Now he needs to set out to hunt beasts and earn money. So Yi Tian went to school early the next day to apply for leave. Of course, he wasn't the only one in the class applying for leave. Instead, most of the students in the class took leave. And among those who took leave, the majority come from families with strong backgrounds. During the critical phase of preparing for college entrance exams, there's no need to waste time attending classes at school. They chose to return home for family tutoring, which could accelerate their progress more effectively. Not long after, Yi Tian, who successfully applied for leave, arrived at the Maple Leaf Mountain Range with his luggage. The fiery red maple trees blanketed the entire hillside, basking in the sunlight at midday. They appeared exceptionally dazzling, resembling mountain ridges set ablaze, stretching across the heart of the land. Just as Yi Tian arrived at the Maple Ridge Mountains, he immediately sensed a hint of danger in the air. It seemed that a ferocious beast had locked its sights on him, but its exact location remained unknown to him for now. Suddenly, on a large tree not far away, a blood-red mantis appeared. With a leap, it sprang forward, swinging its arms that resembled scythes. It charged directly toward Yi Tian. This blood-red mantis, a mid-level grade 1 beast, carried C-rank bloodline. A sharp swishing sound echoed. The blood-red mantis raised its scythe-like arm, and slashed it toward Yi Tian's neck. Earth Armor Technique, an earth element mystical art. Responding to Yi Tian's call, it arrived slightly later. Immediately, a thick layer of gray armor covered his body. A dense gray armor enveloped him without delay. With a sharp hissing sound passing by, the blood-red mantis's scythe slashed through the air. The armor only bore a faint scratch. Following this, the blood-red mantis's strategy proved highly effective. It then began to shift its position rapidly. One could see streaks of afterimages forming around the blood-red mantis. It relentlessly launched attacks toward Yi Tian. The sound of constant banging echoed repeatedly. It only left a few marks on Yi Tian's gray armor, without having much of an impact. At this moment, Yi Tian finally began his counterattack at a leisurely pace. Letting the scarlet mantis attack for such a long time earlier was merely to test the strength of the armor coating technique, as well as its duration. Sword Shadow Technique, a flash of golden light appeared in Yi Tian's hand. Then a gray sword shadow swept across. Before the scarlet mantis could even react, it pierced straight through his body. Green blood instantly spurted out. His body collapsed to the ground with a loud thud. The blood-red mantis, being a level 1 demonic beast, only its pair of scythe-like arms is worth any money. The rest of it could be considered worthless junk. No one would even bother picking it up if left there. Yi Tian could be seen, quickly chopping off the pair of scythe-like arms, and storing them into his storage pouch. He then turned around and walked away. What followed next? Every day, Yi Tian hunted down various demonic beasts, and collected the most valuable body parts from them. Nothing unusual had happened, until that particular day. It was right after Yi Tian had slain a wolf demon. As he was extracting its teeth and claws, Suddenly, with a loud boom, a massive black serpent covered in scales appeared, leaping out from the jungle. This was a rank 2 demonic beast, the black-scaled serpent. Yi Tian's expression shifted. Rank 2 demonic beasts in Maple Leaf Mountain Range were incredibly rare, especially in the outer regions, where encountering them was even less likely. Yi Tian swiftly executed the golden light technique. Transforming into a streak of golden light, he fled from the area at great speed. He had no intention of testing his strength against the black-scaled serpent. For one, he had just recently advanced to the level of a beginner artisan. On the other hand, the black-scaled giant serpent ranks among the most formidable creatures within the category of second-tier demonic beasts. It is exceptionally difficult to deal with, extremely troublesome to contend with. Afterward, Yi Tian departed from the Maple Leaf Mountain Range, and made his way back to the Eastern Sea Base Market. After packaging the materials of over a dozen demonic beasts, and selling them to a shop, he earned an income of 680,000. Immediately after that, Yi Tian went to Donghai Pavilion to purchase the Fire Eye technique. This is a crucial skill for hunting beasts in the wilderness. It was just that last time, due to a lack of funds, he was unable to practice it. Shortly afterward, Yi Tian used the comprehension technique to cultivate the Fiery Eye technique to perfection. He then headed to the Maple Leaf Mountain Range. This time, he used the Fiery Eye technique to deliberately avoid the area where the black-scaled giant serpent resided. Yi Tian's eyes emitted faint streaks of red light, scanning the surroundings. The environment within a 500-meter radius instantly appeared in his mind. Shortly after, Yi Tian noticed a rock about 130 meters away, where a stone-armored beast lay fast asleep. The stone-armored beast was entirely covered in a thick layer of stone armor. Even its forehead had a gray stone protrusion. Lying among the rocks was part of its hunting technique. It's also a way to avoid other carnivorous monsters. The stone armor beast can be considered valuable all over its body. Its shell is commonly used to craft combat suits, and the shells with sufficient age can even serve as material for armor. Its meat is tender and delicious, rich with spiritual energy. Not only is it a specialty ingredient for many high-end restaurants, but also a food source to quickly restore energy in the wild. However, the most valuable part is the pair of eyes of the stone armor beast. Known as a treasure of nature and earth, it is one of the essential ingredients for earth element elixirs. This type of earth element elixir can accelerate the cultivation progress of those with earth element talents. Whenever the eyes of the stone armor demon appear on the market, they are always fiercely competed for by major herbal merchants. With the assistance of the Fire Eye technique, Yi Tian silently approached the stone armor demon. The sword shadow technique made just a soft sound. A streak of gray sword light, a slash swept across the vulnerable neck of the stone-armored monster. In an instant, the stone-armored monster's head was severed. Yi Tian stored its corpse in his storage pouch, then continued his search for more beasts. With the aid of the Fire Eye technique, Yi Tian managed to accomplish this within a single day, killing nearly 30 beasts in the process. Compared to his first attempt, this efficiency had multiplied several times over. By evening, Yi Tian returned once again to the Donghai base market. He exchanged 30 demonic beasts for 2.1 million in currency. Afterwards, he headed to the Donghai pavilion. While there, he purchased some items, materials of the 5 elements to enhance his art-related talents. At the same time, he also bought B-level wood element art hellwood usages. Next, Yi Tian found a quiet spot, and began focusing on cultivating diligently. 5 or 6 days passed by. As Yi Tian emerged from his cultivation, he slowly regained consciousness. During this session of cultivation, he not only advanced his mastery of the hellwood technique to perfection, but his personal cultivation level also reached the peak of a novice artist. It seemed that in just a few days, he would be able to break through to the ultimate artist level. Just as Yi Tian was preparing to head to Maple Leaf Mountain once again, he unexpectedly ran into an acquaintance, Zhang Xiao, along the way. Yi Tian's face showed a look of surprise. Compared to before, there now seems to be a sharper edge to Zhang Xiao's demeanor. Even though his cultivation level still hasn't reached the realm of an advanced artist, his aura has grown significantly stronger than it was before. to avoid unnecessary trouble. Yi Tian quickly made his way through the crowd and left in a hurry. At this moment, Zhang Xiao also noticed Yi Tian disappearing into the distance. He was momentarily stunned. But then his expression darkened once again. Do you know that person Zhang Xiao just now? At this moment, beside Zhang Xiao, a burly man with a small braid asked. Brother Liu, that person just now, is a student from the water element genius class of our first high school. Originally, he was a useless individual with an F-level water element talent. But he managed to obtain a rare treasure in the freshman secret realm, which boosted his potential to a C level. And by luck, he got into the genius class. Zhang Xiao explained with a cold expression. Besides, there is a conflict between him and me. This man, referred to as Brother Liu by young Master Zhang, is from the Dongshu group of Donghai City, assigned top-tier artist. Lu Feng is also one of the 2 top-tier artists, assigned to protect young Master Zhang during this training, in order to curry favor with the future high-ranking figures of the Dongshu group. Lu Feng immediately made his stance clear. He would handle this matter personally. It will absolutely be done thoroughly. At that moment, Lu Feng leaped forward with determination. He hurriedly rushed in the direction where Yi Tian had disappeared. At this time, Yi Tian had just walked out of the East Sea base market. He immediately sensed that someone was tailing him. Through the fire eye technique, Yi Tian's eyes emitted a crimson glow. Instantly, an area within a 500-meter radius was completely enveloped within his field of perception. It was then that he detected a humanoid figure, concealed behind a large tree. It was Yi Tian who saw it clearly. The one following him turned out to be the masterful artist from Zhang Xiao's side. At that moment, Lu Feng seemed to realize that Yi Tian had noticed him, so he stopped hiding. In a swift flash, he charged straight at Yi Tian. As the opponent closed in, Yi Tian instantly cast the sword shadow technique. With a buzzing sound, a gray sword shadow swiftly struck towards Lu Feng. Lu Feng, with his extensive combat experience, reacted with remarkable speed. In the very first moment, he cast the earth-level wind-based art, wind armor, upon himself. However, he underestimated Yi Tian's mastery of the perfected sword shadow technique. Just the sound of a muffled thud could be heard. The wind armor was instantly pierced through. The unstoppable sword shadow technique went straight through his shoulder. At the same time, wooden vines erupted from the ground, coiling towards him. Muting Jutsu Lu Feng revealed a look of terror. In the very instant of the clash just now, Lu Feng sensed that the information he had received was significantly inaccurate. This Yi Tian not only demonstrated the perfected realm of sword shadow technique, but also now showcased the perfected realm of shepherd boy technique. This was no useless person who had risen through external help, but an unparalleled prodigy overwhelming all geniuses. Lu Feng was filled with deep regret at this moment. Why did he decide to ambush and attack Yi Tian alone? Without hesitation, he turned around and tried to flee. But in an instant, his legs were already entangled by wooden vines. There was no chance of escape. Just as he was about to cut through the vines, Yi Tian had already unleashed a grade B wood elemental technique, the Hellwood Thorn technique. Sharp wooden spikes emerged one after another, emerging from the ground, then swiftly thrusting toward Lu Feng. After a series of soft piercing sounds, Lu Feng's body was pierced through with multiple holes, instantly losing his life. At this moment, a look of shock appeared on Yi Tian's face. The combination of the wooden vine tree and the Hellwood Thorn technique is unbelievably terrifying. Although there was an element of taking advantage, it was able to instantly kill a peak-level artist. This is truly remarkable to an extraordinary degree. However, the consumption in this process was significant. With just 2 abilities, his wood-based powers were completely depleted. But fortunately, the other 4 elemental abilities remained abundant. His combat strength was still formidable. Immediately after, Yi Tian buried Lu Feng's body to avoid exposure. Then he silently made a firm decision to eliminate Zhang Xiao without anyone noticing. If Lu Feng, who was sent out, failed to return for a long time, it is highly likely that Zhang Xiao will inform the Dongshu group about this matter. And it was just a minor issue last time. Zhang Xiao already sent people to launch an attack. Killing someone like me who is so particular about everything If I don't take him out, there will be even more trouble later. With this thought in mind, Yi Tian found a place to hide himself. Meanwhile, inside the East Sea base market, Zhang Xiao was pacing back and forth on the spot. Clearly, he was waiting and had become quite impatient. Why hasn't there been any news from Brother Liu yet? Young Master Zhang lifted his head and asked someone nearby. A peak-level artist dressed in armor. Gao Yunchang said that the signal in the wilderness is poor, and it's quite normal not to be able to contact him. Gao Yunchang replied. If you don't want to wait, then we can also head into the Maple Leaf Mountain Range. Maybe we'll run into Lu Feng there. So they left the East Sea base market. They headed toward the Maple Leaf Mountain Range. Just as Zhang Xiao and his companion entered the mountain range not long after, Gao Yunzhang sensed the presence of an interstellar energy. Get out of the way, Gao Yunzhang shouted. In the next moment, a massive fireball came hurtling toward them. There was a loud boom. The fireball exploded instantly. It directly sent Gao Yunzhang flying. He fell to the ground, coughing up blood. Clearly, the injuries were severe. As for Zhang Xiao, his condition was even more miserable. Not only was one of his arms blown off, but his entire body was covered in blood. He lay motionless on the ground, his life or death uncertain. At this moment, Gao Yunchang was obviously terrified out of his wits. He completely ignored Zhang Xiao, quickly got to his feet and tried to run. The vines of the wooden vine tree rose from the ground one by one. It coiled around him. Although Gao Yunchang tried to evade it, he still ended up with one foot ensnared by a wooden vine. Immediately after, a gray sword light from the sword shadow technique struck out. As the sword light approached, Gao Yunchang's face turned pale. He then summoned all his golden supernatural energy, and unleashed the D-level refined art, golden coin count. His arms gleamed brightly in a radiant golden hue, dramatically enhancing the defensive and offensive power of his arms. Then stepped forward to fend off. A faint puff sound was heard. Blood spurted wildly. Gao Yunchang's arm was severed by a sword. Immediately after, Yi Tian's second gray sword light struck. Without an arm to block, Gao Yunchang had his head sliced off with a single sword strike. At that moment, not far away, Zhang Xiao slowly regained consciousness, and happened to witness the scene of Gao Yunchang being killed. Suddenly, his entire body shivered with cold. Just as Zhang Xiao was about to kneel down and beg Yi Tian for mercy, another massive fireball came hurtling toward him. With a deafening crash that followed, a charred corpse appeared on the ground. After killing Zhang Xiao, Yi Tian used the golden light technique, and swiftly fled from the scene. Because this place was too close to the Donghai base market, it was highly likely that someone would soon notice something unusual. At that point, it would be troublesome if he was exposed. Sure enough, not long after Yi Tian left, the official artist guard arrived at the battle scene. Soon after, they conducted a brief search of the surroundings, then departed with 2 corpses. In the days that followed, Yi Tian repeated the routine of hunting monsters to exchange for money, then visited the East Sea Pavilion to purchase 5-element materials, and continued his art cultivation. About half a month after killing Zhang Xiao, Yi Tian's cultivation advanced to the level of a high-ranking artist. Not only that, he had also cultivated the Hellwood technique to its perfect state. In addition, he mastered 3 new arts: grounding technique, water clone technique, and earth hardening technique. At this moment, Yi Tian was near the East Sea base market, by the banks of the Donglan River, practicing the water clone technique. Suddenly, he noticed a water element gifted ability user not far away, engaging in a massive slaughter of demonic beasts in the river, not even sparing the young offspring of the demonic beasts. Immediately afterward, collected all the bodies of the demonic beasts into a storage pouch. After completing all of this, hurriedly went ashore, headed towards a dense forest not far away. Sensing something unusual, Yi Tian used his earth-burrowing technique, keeping a distant trail behind him. Before long, that water element practitioner arrived in front of an abandoned house deep within the dense forest, saw that from within the house emerged over a dozen individuals with extraordinary abilities. Leading them was a man dressed in a black long robe, a man with short white hair. His eyes glowed with a crimson hue. A massive scar stretched across the left side of his face. He exuded an overwhelming aura of power. No one around dared to approach him. Within a radius of 1 meter, the water elemental practitioner could be seen, bowing his head and bending forward toward the leading man. Then slowly saying, "Lord Blood Swamp. This is the water element beast corpse I acquired. Go and place it in the altar. These days, I'll still have to trouble you to hunt down more beasts. The group from Donghai City is still searching everywhere. We can only act covertly to avoid exposure. By using these water element beasts, offer this as a sacrifice to the mighty Lord of the Dark God." The man referred to as Lord Bloodclaw lowered his head and glanced briefly, then spoke, confirming himself as Lord Bloodclaw. Upon hearing this conversation, Yi Tian was instantly stunned. He quickly deduced the likely identity of these people. They were members of the Dark God cult. And this Lord Bloodclaw was most likely the figure causing a stir recently in Donghai City. The renowned master artist at the peak of the Dark God cult. They must be stopped. In an instant, Yi Tian came up with this idea. But soon his face was once again clouded with worry. Taking action directly. That was simply out of the question. Because with his current strength, there was no way he could be a match for a master at the peak of artistic achievement. There was even a chance the opponent could defeat him in an instant with just one artistic move. After pondering for a long time, he finally made up his mind. He went straight to the East Sea Cities Ability Association to report this group of members from the Evil God Society. Immediately after, Yi Tian summoned a water clone, transforming into a middle-aged man dressed in a black casual outfit, with a baseball cap on his head, and arrived at the Ability Association building. Then explained his purpose to an artist guarding the entrance. Not long after, a young woman in her 20s appeared in front of Yi Tian. She was wearing a form-fitting silver battle suit. A pair of sharp eyes rested on a handsome face, fixated intently on Yi Tian, as if trying to uncover the slightest clue on him. "Master Lu Xian." The nearby art guardian spoke respectfully. Immediately after, Yi Tian's water clone reported to Master Lu Xian about some details regarding the cult of the evil god, and then turned into a puddle of water and vanished. Shortly thereafter, Master Lu Xian and Tai Shi, the vice president of the Donghai City Ability Association, left the headquarters building of the Ability Association together, heading swiftly towards the southeast of Donghai City. Meanwhile, after filing the report, Yi Tian hid in the dense forest near the altar of the cult of the evil god to watch the commotion. At this moment, Dong Lan was near the altar in the forest nearby, alongside the master of pinnacle artistry, Blood Claw, as well as several members of the cult of the evil god, busy at work here preparing. Suddenly, Blood Claw's expression shifted. His gaze turned toward the distance. Immediately after, a figure slowly emerged in the void not far away, overlooking the altar below. Ironstone Blood Claw quickly recognized the person. It was none other than the deputy president of the East Sea City Ability Association, a true Grandmaster-level expert. Blood Claw hadn't expected this. "So you really are here." Tai Shi broke into a bright smile. Capturing so many members of the cult in one go is truly a remarkable achievement. The moment he recognized Tai Shi, Blood Claw waved his hand, taking the 6 black stones from the altar, then cast a forbidden blood escape spell, and quickly fled into the distance. Don't be fooled by the fact that he's a master of peak artistry. Yet in the presence of a master artist, he was no more than an ant. The gap between them was as vast as a chasm. Staying here and fighting desperately would be nothing but a dead end. So he didn't hesitate to sacrifice 3 years of his lifespan, and used the forbidden water technique, the blood escape technique, to flee. With a sudden whoosh, he harnessed the power of the blood escape technique. The speed of the Blood Claw increased exponentially in an instant, leaving streaks of bloody shadows on the ground. Vanished into the jungle. The blood escape technique. Too bad you haven't mastered it yet. If it were the perfected blood escape technique, you might have actually managed to get away today. What a pity. Ironstone shook his head, and then performed the golden light technique, chasing after Blood Claw relentlessly. Shortly afterward, within the jungle near the banks of the Donglan River, the Ironstone caught up with the fleeing Blood Claw, imprisoning him in an iron cell. A massive prison suddenly materialized out of thin air. It descended upon Bloodclaw, aiming to trap him. The intent was to capture him alive. Realizing he was no match, Bloodclaw's eyes turned crimson with desperation. He began to fight with all his might. He reached into his inner storage ring. From it, he retrieved a blood-red claw. The claw fused seamlessly into his hand. Once the two became one, their power merged completely. The aura of the blood claw surged dramatically in an instant. Immediately after, the blood claw reached forward with its blood-coated claws, ripping apart the iron prison effortlessly, allowing him to escape from within. At this moment, Ironstone executed a precise art of slicing technique. A golden flash of light streaked across, directly severing the blood-stained claw of the blood claw, along with the entire arm. Bloodclaw let out a cry of agony. Yet he gritted his teeth, and dashed toward the Donglon River not far ahead. Witnessing this scene, Ironstone's expression shifted. If Bloodclaw really managed to escape into the Donglon River, he might truly end up empty-handed today. So he abandoned the thought of capturing him alive, and unleashed his most powerful technique, Thousand Seals Slash, directly at Bloodclaw. There was only a muffled thud. A streak of silvery white light pierced straight through Bloodclaw's heart. Bloodclaw, just a step away from Donglon River, displayed an expression of unwillingness. Then his body plunged straight downward, disappearing into the waters of Donglon River. At this moment, Tysher slowly descended onto the river's surface, and then formed a massive golden hand, which directly lifted Bloodclaw's corpse out of the water. After searching Bloodclaw's body for a while, Ironstone slightly furrowed his brows. He surprisingly couldn't find that item. Then Ironstone dove into the Donglon River, and searched around once more, yet still failed to uncover it. After lingering at the same spot for a while, Ironstone left with the blood-soaked corpse he had found. What he didn't realize was that not far from where the blood-soaked body fell into the water, was the surface of the river several hundred meters away. A transparent figure was slowly coming into view. It was none other than Yi Tian's water clone, and in his hand was firmly held an object. That item truly proved the saying, "Fortune favors the bold." Not only did he obtain a permanent storage space, but also, within its inner realm, there were 6 dark stones worth over 1 billion each. These were exactly the rare materials Yi Tian urgently needed. They could help Yi Tian awaken his dark attribute talent. And immediately after, Yi Tian intended to find a quiet spot to begin absorbing the dark stone. Shortly after, Yi Tian sat cross-legged, settling down in place. Previously, they discovered the abandoned house belonging to Bloodclaw and his group. Both hands tightly gripped a piece of dark stone. Black streams of energy could be seen seeping through the palms, slowly converging toward the chest. Suddenly, Yi Tian let out a roar of agony, and in an instant, he opened his tightly shut eyes. What used to be his clear and bright eyes suddenly turned into a deep, inky black. His entire body began to expand like a balloon, rapidly swelling at an incredible speed. It felt like it was about to burst at any moment. Just then, behind Yi Tian, an eerie shadow of a mysterious technique emerged. Suddenly, a flash of dark light appeared around him. Then, quickly began to absorb the excess dark power within the body. At this moment, Yi Tian's body gradually returned to its normal state. Not long after, a crisp ding sound was heard, followed by a flash of dark light. The dark attribute special ability advanced to level B. Yi Tian slowly opened his eyes at this time. The scene he had just experienced left him feeling deeply unsettled. If it weren't for practicing the enlightenment technique, by sheer chance, he ended up saving his life. He might have met his end here today. Immediately after, Yi Tian stumbled upon the realm of the Blood Marsh. He uncovered 2 books on dark arts. A top-tier B-level dark art called Dark Spear. When used, the power of darkness forms into a black spear. The spear spins rapidly. The tip of the spear faintly glimmers with white light. It possesses a terrifying level of offensive power, as well as mastery over dark arts. After the curtain of darkness unfurls, it traps the enemy in a space shrouded in darkness. Not only does it suppress a portion of the enemy's abilities, but it also seals off this void, making it an exceptionally rare technique that can restrict spatial abilities with artistry. In the following days, Yi used blood to locate the wealth stored in his spatial ring, while visiting the second underground marketplace, to purchase various materials related to the 5 elements, while using the Enlightenment technique to cultivate these 2 arts. Days passed by one after another. When there were only 2 weeks left until the college entrance exams, Yi-Tian's cultivation finally reached its peak, the realm of the artist. Immediately after, Yi-Tian set off for the Maple Leaf Mountains. This time, the goal was clear. It was to target that black-scaled giant serpent. With the fire eye technique, Yi-Tian's eyes flashed with a crimson light. In an instant, the surrounding scenes reflected vividly in his mind. Following that, Yi-Tian returned to the area where the black-scaled giant serpent had previously appeared, and began his search. Not long after, he discovered an underground cave near the side of a mountain, where he found the black-scaled giant serpent. The serpent was covered in wounds, lying in the cave with its eyes closed, seemingly resting. It was clear that it had just been through a fierce battle. As soon as Yi-Tian spotted the black-scaled giant serpent, its eyes immediately snapped open. The serpent kept flicking its forked tongue toward Yi-Tian. It was clear that the black-scaled serpent had noticed him. With a swift motion, Yi-Tian closed in on the black-scaled serpent at a rapid pace. Meanwhile, he continuously gathered dark energy in his hands. Soon, a black spear gradually materialized. It shot toward the black-scaled serpent with incredible speed. The black-scaled serpent lashed out with its tail in retaliation. A sharp double thud could be heard. The dark spear pierced through the black-scaled serpent's defenses as if they didn't exist. Not only did it pierce through the swinging snake tail, but its momentum remained unstoppable, and directly penetrated its body as well. Its heart was shattered completely. The body collapsed to the ground with a thud. Afterward, Yi-Tian efficiently handled the corpse of the black-scaled giant snake, and quickly left the area for several days. Later, Yi-Tian returned to Donghai First High School. By this time, the other students who had taken leave were also gradually returning, with only 1 day left until the college entrance exams. At this moment, the students in the Water Element Genius class had nearly all advanced to the level of artisans. Aside from Yi-Tian, the student with the highest cultivation in the class was Lin Qingya, whose cultivation had already reached the level of a senior artisan. With such a level of cultivation, as long as nothing unexpected happens, getting into Donghai University, one of the top 10 special ability universities in Xia country, wouldn't be an issue. In the blink of an eye, the college entrance exams arrived. The teachers announced this publicly. This year's college entrance exam will adopt a practical combat assessment method. The location is set in the F6 illusionary realm in Donghai City. Each participant will enter the realm using mental projection, and then engage in battles, ultimately determining the final scores. Death in the realm does not equate to actual death. It merely consumes part of one's mental energy. The F6 realm has been officially modified. It is divided into 3 main areas: the outer area, the inner area, and the core zone. The outer area is typically inhabited by fierce beasts or quasi-demonic creatures. It is designed as a zone for art apprentices. The inner area is where first-level demonic beasts are active. The core region is entirely occupied by second-level demonic beasts. The evaluation duration is set at 12 hours. Once the time is up, at that point, the assessment results will be finalized. The ranking will ultimately be determined based on performance, and the slots for admission to the university will be allocated accordingly. Afterward, under the guidance of their teacher, all the students headed to the F6 secret realm. When Yi-Tian arrived at this place, he noticed the entrance to the secret realm was already crowded with a dense gathering of students. The schools participating in this F6 secret realm college entrance exam included not only Donghai First High School, but also other schools in Donghai City, such as 3rd High and 6th High, as well as more than a dozen schools like 9th High. Boom! At that moment, a deep and resonant bell sound echoed, and the gate of the F6 secret realm slowly began to open. A large number of students immediately surged forward, flooding into the secret realm like a swarm of locusts. Yi-Tian also followed the crowd and entered. Once inside, Yi-Tian noticed something on his left wrist. A bracelet created by an illusion had appeared. It seemed this bracelet was designed to keep track of each candidate's score. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. One student after another dashed past him in quick succession, then ran off into the distance. Meanwhile, Yi Tian stayed in place, contemplating for a moment. He also chose a spot and quickly left on his own. His destination this time was the inner region. Given his current level of cultivation, staying in the outer area would be nothing but a waste of time. Not long after, Yi Tian passed through a barrier, and arrived at the inner region. Before he could even steady himself, he spotted a demonic beast, a blood wolf. It lunged at him with incredible speed. A flash of golden light appeared. Yi Tian instantly unleashed his golden needle technique. With a soft sound, it hit its mark. The blood wolf's head was pierced straight through by the golden needle technique. It collapsed and died on the spot. After its death, the blood wolf turned into mist. The mist was absorbed into the illusion bracelet. Immediately, a score number appeared on its surface. It's what follows next. He used the fire eye technique to help him locate the surrounding beasts, while taking them down one by one. Meanwhile, the numbers on the illusionary watch on his wrist were rapidly increasing. In just one short hour, his points had skyrocketed to a staggering 1,000. Keep in mind that last year's admission threshold for Donghai University was only 850 points. So this signifies the current score is sufficient to secure admission into Donghai University. Glancing at the numbers on his watch, Yi Tian beamed with a bright smile. Then he pondered in his mind about heading to the core area. Right after that, Yi Tian activated the golden light technique and swiftly advanced toward the core area. Not long after, Yi Tian passed through the second barrier, then arrived at the central area. Just as Yi Tian was in the central zone, advancing a few hundred meters, a mid-level second-grade demonic beast, a gray giant bear, suddenly leapt out from behind the bushes. Immediately after, the gray giant bear, its entire body covered in rocky armor, opened its massive bloodthirsty jaws, and charged directly at Yi Tian. At that moment, a green light flashed in Yi Tian's hand. The wooden vine tree unleashed its barrage of wooden spikes in succession. One after another, wooden vines shot up from the ground. Then they wrapped tightly around the grizzly bear charging forward. Next, a row of sharp wooden spikes emerged from the ground not far away. Swiftly, they struck toward the grizzly bear. After a few dull thuds, the massive body of the grizzly bear collapsed at Yi Tian's feet. In that moment, the illusionary wristwatch on his arm briefly flashed. Immediately afterward, the numbers on it increased by 200 points. So many, unexpectedly. Yi Tian's expression froze for a moment in surprise. Then, as if something occurred to him, he smiled happily. After that, Yi Tian began slaying various second-level beasts in the core area. 2,000 points. 3,000 points. 4,000 points. 6 hours later, Yi Tian's points skyrocketed to a terrifying 8,000. At this moment, Yi Tian unknowingly arrived at the very center of the core region. After a deafening roar, an Earth Armor Dragon, a peak-level Tier 2 beast, appeared before him. The Earth Armor Dragon is a peak-level Tier 2 beast with B-grade bloodline potential. Not only does it possess formidable defensive capabilities, but ordinary techniques struggle to penetrate the armor on its body. Moreover, his strength is absolutely terrifying. With just a single strike, even a peak-level mystic artist would be severely injured. But that's not all. The Armored Earth Dragon also possesses several innate Earth-based abilities, making it extremely difficult to deal with. As the Armored Earth Dragon slowly approached, even Yi Tian could feel a faint sense of pressure. Suddenly, with a swishing sound, the Armored Earth Dragon vanished without a trace. It's a ground-burrowing technique. Yi Tian immediately tensed up. With the Fire Eye technique, a red glow briefly flashed in Yi Tian's eyes. He quickly searched for the location of the Megaraptor. Shortly after, less than 5 meters behind Yi Tian, he noticed something. He discovered an ankylosaurus hidden beneath the ground. Then, he raised his finger and pointed forward. He cast the steel ground technique. In an instant, the underground area where the ankylosaurus was located transformed. It transformed directly into a land of steel. As the steel continued to compress, it seemed as if it was about to crush the Earth Armor Dragon. Immediately after, a flash of earthy yellow light was seen on the Earth Armor Dragon. Then it broke through the steel ground technique directly, bursting out from the ground. And as the Earth Armor Dragon emerged, its entire body was covered in thick layers of armor, transforming into an armored Earth Dragon. Upon witnessing the scene, Yi Tian swiftly gathered the power of darkness. He unleashed the Spear of Darkness with all his might. A black spear rapidly took shape. Then it thrust forward. Immediately after, a sharp metallic clash echoed through the air. Turning toward the source of the sound, the armored Earth Dragon came into view. Only a small scale had fallen from its body, while the dark spear had already dissolved into the air. This level of injury is nothing to the Earth Armor Dragon. At this moment, the Earth Armor Dragon's attack was already upon him. A buzzing sound echoed. Countless stone spears materialized in the surrounding area. They surged toward Yi Tian. This was unmistakably the B-level talent master of arts. The spear technique could condense hundreds of stone spears. Not only were the attacks fast, but they also covered a wide range. Even using the golden light technique wouldn't allow one to evade. Then Yi Tian gritted his teeth, and directly unleashed an A-level dark art. After a hum from the dark canopy, the surrounding area within dozens of meters instantly plunged into darkness. At that very moment, the Earth Armor Dragon lost sight of Yi Tian. Right after, countless black threads slowly emerged within the dark canopy, wrapping around the Earth Armor Dragon's body, continuously suppressing its strength. At this moment, the Earth Armor Dragon panicked. Its massive body twisted and turned incessantly, trying desperately to break free from the restraints. Watching the Earth Armor Dragon struggle relentlessly, Yi Tian immediately cast the Hellwood Spike technique again. One by one, wooden spikes surged up from the ground, piercing toward the belly of the Earth Armor Dragon, which was also one of its weaknesses. The Earth Armor Dragon's body was lifted by the wooden spikes, yet its defenses still remained mostly intact. However, Yi Tian pulled off a bold move. Completely enraging the Earth Armored Dragon, he controlled a wooden spike with precision, and drove it directly into the rear of the Earth Armored Dragon. After a sharp, agonized cry, the Earth Armored Dragon's eyes turned blood red, instantly becoming uncontrollably furious, thrashing its limbs wildly as it wreaked havoc on the surrounding ground. But under the darkened sky, the Earth Armored Dragon still managed to break through the suppression. Yet the whereabouts of Yi Tian remain elusive. Using various forms of art to deplete his vitality, realizing it could not rival the Earth Armor Dragon, decided to use the Earth Burrowing technique to flee. As expected beforehand, Yi Tian acted swiftly and cast the Ground Hardening technique, trapping the Earth Armor Dragon in place. Then Yi Tian launched a relentless assault on the Earth Armor Dragon. Before long, the Earth Armor Dragon gradually lost its vitality, turned into mist, merged into Yi Tian's illusion wristwatch. At this moment, Yi Tian's points instantly increased by 2,000, reaching the maximum score of 10,000 points. Continuing to slay beasts would no longer serve a purpose. Yi Tian murmured to himself. After the fantasy faded, Yi Tian departed from the central area, heading off to seek other resources. Although the F6 secret realm is an illusionary one, but in reality, it is indeed a true secret realm. There are certain things that exist here, and they can actually be taken out. Not long after, Yi Tian discovered a white stone, and it was of an exceptionally pure white hue. This is an illusion stone. Yi Tian's face lit up with excitement. It is a type of material associated with mental abilities. Moreover, it is a material urgently needed by most psychic ability users. Psychic ability users with innate talents are extremely rare. Yet they are incredibly powerful. And because materials related to psychic abilities are scarce, it makes cultivation significantly more challenging. However, when psychic ability users reach an advanced level of cultivation, they are undoubtedly among the strongest categories of ability users. Unfortunately, it is just a low-grade illusion stone. If one could find an ultimate illusion stone or a high-grade illusion stone, maybe I could awaken a psychic talent ability. At this moment, Yi Tian sighed inwardly. However, Yi Tian quickly felt happy again. Since a fossil could appear here, it suggests there might be a chance for more fossils to be discovered. Over the next few hours, Yi Tian kept searching this area tirelessly. Right before the competition ended, Yi Tian successfully awakened. an F-level psychic talent ability, then quickly headed toward the exit of the secret realm. Not long after Yi Tian handed over his illusion bracelet to the teacher, he left this place. 2 days later, in the school square of East Sea First High School, the area was packed with students and teachers. Today was the official announcement of the college entrance exam results. On the high platform stood the principal of First High School, the great art master Gua Hai. Gua Hai raised his hand, signaling the audience to quiet down, then slowly began to speak. Dear teachers, this year, our First High School has achieved remarkable results. Upon hearing this announcement, all the teachers present felt a sense of relief. Gua Hai continued without pause. This year's top scorer in Donghai City's college entrance exams is from our school, and the provincial top scorer is also from our school. Who is it? The audience immediately erupted in chatter. Many teachers and students began whispering among themselves. Gua Hai, standing on the quiet platform, spoke loudly. After that, he took a moment to steady his breath, and calmly said, "This is someone you would never expect. He is none other than Yi Tian from the Water Element Talent class." Yi Tian. Hearing this name, teacher Li Xian was completely stunned. You have to understand, this Yi Tian was previously known for having an F-grade talent. But later, due to acquiring a rare and precious treasure, he managed to elevate his potential to a C-grade level. Just barely managed to enter the gifted class. It's important to note that people who enhance their potential through natural treasures usually have limited maximum potential. Now, after Yi Tian took a month off, he surprisingly achieved the top score in the entire province during the college entrance exam. From his perspective, this was absolutely unimaginable. Immediately after, Li Xian once again questioned the principal. Are you joking about this? Do you think I would joke about such a thing at a formal meeting? And also, based on previous years at universities, the cutoff score. It is estimated this year. Our school. Approximately 23 students from our school are expected to meet the cutoff score for Donghai University. Roughly 23 students. Principal Gua Hai stated this solemnly. Afterward, the principal, having announced the results, promptly left the venue. Shortly after, news broke that a top scorer in the college entrance examination emerged from First High School. Like the wind itself, it swept through every street and alley in just one day. Meanwhile, Lin Qingya, who was training in a certain spot in Donghai City, also received this piece of news. What? Yi Tian became the top scorer in the college entrance exam. Lin Qingya found it somewhat hard to believe, because she was one of the few who knew about Yi Tian's background. A student with F-level potential. In just 2 months, he somehow leaped to become the top in the entire province. It seems the secrets surrounding Yi Tian are far from ordinary. Lin Qingya reflected quietly to herself. At this moment, Yi Tian was being surrounded by a group of people on the school's sports field. Yi Tian, would you consider applying to our Shanghai University? Our Shanghai University is not only willing to waive all tuition fees, but also offers a 1 million yuan enrollment bonus. A man in his early 30s, dressed in a gray suit, said, Yi Tian, if you choose to attend our Beijing North University, we will also waive all tuition fees. An additional reward of $3 million in scholarships. In addition, we will provide all the resources you need for cultivation during your time at school. All necessary training resources. A woman in her 30s wearing gold-rimmed glasses, dressed in a professional red outfit, the female teacher said. Immediately after, recruiters from various universities presented attractive offers, hoping that Yi Tian would choose their university. Apologies. I have already decided to enroll at Donghai University. Yi Tian outright declined, and the only reason he chose Donghai University was because it was close to home. Afterward, Yi Tian was taken to the principal's office by teacher Li Xian. When Yi Tian saw Gua Hai, the Grandmaster of the Arts, he couldn't help but feel a bit uneasy. Then he respectfully greeted, "Good day, Principal." Gua Hai gave Yi Tian a glance, and nodded slightly. Remarkably, his cultivation has already reached its peak. An artist, and is on the verge of advancing to the realm of an art master. Afterward, Gua Hai asked a few questions, and rewarded Yi Tian, the top scorer in the college entrance exam, with a mysterious water god stone. Then he earnestly reminded to attend East Sea University and diligently refine his artistic skills. This is merely the beginning. Some exceptional talents from Donghai University achieved the level of an art grandmaster even before graduation. I hope you can achieve the same. Principal, I will do my best. After Yi Tian Xuanji excused himself, he used a water clone to arrive at Donghai Pavilion to purchase arts related to the mental discipline. However, Xuanji Yi left disappointed, because at Donghai Pavilion, he could only acquire defensive-type mental arts, mental illusion arts and offensive arts, due to strict regulation by the authorities, cannot be sold. At this moment, Yi Tian was at home absorbing the water energy from the water god stone. Knock knock, someone was rapping on Yi Tian's door. Yi Tian used his flame eye technique, and saw a young woman in her 20s standing outside the door. It was none other than the peak art master from the Ability Association, Lu Xing, who was then invited into Yi Tian's home. After Lu Xing revealed his identity, he directly stated his purpose for coming. Student Yi Tian, I am here on behalf of the Ability Association to invite you to join. Immediately after that, he explained the benefits of joining the Ability Association to Yi Tian. However, Yi Tian, having lived another life, was well experienced, and small favors were not enough to move him. As the saying goes, no one acts without a motive. Yi Tian quickly stated his own conditions. I just wanted a B-level psychic art. Afterward, Yi Tian also revealed a bit of his cards to him, which is that he is a B-level psychic ability user. Hearing this, Lu Xian was genuinely astonished for a moment. It turns out that Yi Tian, who took first place in the provincial exam, had hidden his capabilities this deeply. After a round of discussions, both parties reached an agreement. Yi Tian agreed to join the Association of Supernatural Abilities. The Association of Supernatural Abilities, in return, rewarded Yi Tian with a C-level mental attack technique, a soul-based technique known as True Art. Not long after, at the mission area of the headquarters building of the Association of Supernatural Abilities, Yi Tian, who had just received the technique, was intently studying the various missions on the bulletin board. One mission involved fanning flames, and required a water element technique master. No limit on the number of participants. Complete the task to earn 20 points. Task 2 involves searching for missing persons in Donglan. No specific requirements. Water element ability users are given priority. Complete the task to earn 15 points. Task 3 requires clearing demon rats in Chengdong. Eliminating a level 1 demon rat earns 10 points. Eliminating a level 2 demon rat earns 50 points. No limit on the quantity. After contemplating for a while, Yi Tian took on the task of clearing out the demon rats. The reason he accepted this task was partly because the Ability Association offers a point system to purchase a variety of items, including even B-level mental attack techniques, which can also be acquired, and partly because, although the task is somewhat dangerous, it grants a significant amount of points. Shortly after, Yi Tian arrived at the eastern district of Donghai City. The information obtained from the Ability Association. The demon rat resides in the underground of this area. Although its size is not large, its claws are as strong as steel, and it is highly skilled at digging. Thus, even if the demon rat can be defeated, killing it is quite difficult, unless it is struck down instantly upon discovery. Yi Tian was unconcerned about this, because he is a multi-ability user. On one hand, he can use the fire eye technique to locate the demon rat's position. On the other hand, he can also utilize the earth escape technique to go underground, to pursue or eliminate the demon rat. The realm of the demon rats posed no threat to Yi Tian in his current state. It was unable to create any danger for him. After working hard for half a day, Yi Tian returned with a pile of demon rat corpses. He made his way back to the headquarters building of the Ability Users Association. When he turned in the task, the staff were completely stunned. He had only been out for half a day, and yet he managed to take down so many demon rats. 6 second-level demon rats, 36 first-level demon rats, earning a total of 660 points. Over the next few days, Yi Tian kept taking on various tasks, while continuing to practice the spiritual combat technique Soul True Art. Soon after, Yi prepared to break through to the realm of an artist. The so-called breakthrough to the artist realm is about compressing and condensing the energy of abilities into a specialized ability organ. As a multi-ability user, Yi needs to compress and condense different types of energy. After making all the necessary preparations, Yi began his breakthrough. And his face alternated between excitement and agony, constantly shifting expressions. After a night of cultivation, as the first ray of sunlight streamed into the room, with a soft hum, Yi entire body emitted a radiant array of colors. Immediately, Yi aura began to rise continuously. Then, his tightly closed eyes suddenly snapped open. An invisible ripple shot out from his gaze. At that moment, Yi exuded a heavy and overwhelming sense of pressure. After breaking through 7 times, Yi officially stepped into the realm of the 7th-tier art grandmaster. Yi who had just regained consciousness, threw a punch forward. A loud boom was the only sound that could be heard. The air seemed to be torn apart. It produced a violent, explosive noise. Is this the power of an art grandmaster? With this punch now, it should be enough to defeat a peak-level artist, right? Yi nodded in satisfaction. Having just completed his advancement, Yi once again, he arrived at the headquarters of the Ability Association. This time, he took on a mission to extinguish a forest fire outside the city. Normally, such tasks fall under the responsibility of the fire department. But this fire broke out under suspicious circumstances and spread rapidly. As a result, the fire department passed the mission through the official channels. And it was assigned to the Artists Association. Besides Yi 6 other water element ability users were also assigned to this mission. In addition, 6 more water element ability users joined the task force. Interestingly, he discovered a master of water element arts among them. When they arrived at the scene of the fire, they finally understood why the Association of Supernatural Beings had to intervene this time. The mountains were engulfed in flames of red, lighting up half the sky. And the red and black flames were clearly no ordinary wildfire. With a loud boom, a group of artists simultaneously began to unleash their abilities, summoning a massive amount of water from afar, to extinguish the raging flames. Meanwhile, Yi and another master of water-based arts were positioned on opposite sides of the wildfire. As Yi was employing his water-based techniques to extinguish the flames, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The sound of rushing wind came from behind Yi. Right after that, 6 different colored techniques swiftly shot toward him. With a loud boom, the spot where Yi had been standing, a massive pit, roughly 10 meters in diameter, had appeared. Meanwhile, Yi figure had completely vanished without a trace.